There is this notion that good art always comes from pain. So you need to have that inner turmoil, that anguish, and that is when you can actually wring out all those emotions and then put it out, and that becomes good art.
Okay, so here we begin. So, hello Neil.
Hello, Kumar, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good, coping with this situation right now, but that's okay.
Yeah, all of us are. So, Neil is a writer, and I know Neil for some time now. Neil has written the first book, Maya's New Husband, and after that, there is a subsequent list of books. Those are coming, and all of these books are setting up a new genre in the Indian literature space, I would say, where Neil is trying to make sure that the horror, right, that we are catered to from a certain language barrier is being taken care of now. And when I read Neil's first book, Maya's New Husband, for the first time, I realized that horror is another genre that I want to explore. And after that, I have read subsequent books. So, to all our audience, I would like to recommend, and I'll put the links of Neil's book to go through each of them, take your time, and then write good recommendations on Neil's website and Goodreads, right?
That's very
So,
kind. I thank you so much.
yeah. So Neil, before we head into the journey, right? Every writer is a story into itself. I have a very heart-breaking question to ask. Right? Tell me
Okay.
why. Tell me why artists' poverty or artists not being taken care of their life in terms of financial aspect is romanticized. Why it is that it's so much romanticized? Why artists have to be poor to come up with a good story or a good art?
Your first question itself is a big googly.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, we say that I know there is this notion that good art always comes from pain. So you need to have that inner turmoil, that anguish, and that is when you can actually wring out all those emotions and then put it out, and that becomes good art. I think we have got enough examples all over the place, like starting from Edgar Allan Poe, who is my idol in a way. And because this is a horror centric talk, it's apt to talk about Edgar, a person who was an alcoholic and battling so many mental issues, a loner, but the work that he created, it is in, it has survived the ages, and even today people just think about the genius that that person was when these ideas came. So I think that is one thing, that is one aspect of it. Good art always comes from some kind of inner turmoil, as I said. Even for me, on the days that I'm very happy and I mean everything is going well, I would probably write something, but it would not strike that kind of chord with me when I read it later. But on the days when I feel a little bit of struggle in some form or the other, could be any form of struggle, it could be just this period of lockdown which we are all at home, and we are just thinking about what will be the next thing that would happen, and bad news is pouring in from everywhere. So in this situation, I think I am writing my best. It's somewhere ironical, but it is also happening that way because I write horror, I write dark stuff, and that dark stuff, it somewhere is precipitating because of all this, and it's coming out well. I'll also talk about the monetary aspect because you touched upon it in your question. So artists, we appreciate art. We all appreciate art, but I don't think we reward art as a audience the way that it has to be rewarded. We all are connoisseurs when it comes to it. We say ye acha hai, ye acha hai. That is what we can do. But then where do we actually appreciate art in terms of a financial sense? I'm talking in very general terms. I'm talking about everyone. See, for a while, piracy was such a big thing in India, and people who were creating good stuff, they were getting cheated every time something was illegally downloaded on the internet. This has taken so many different forms. It is not just piracy, it is even with a book. Now when I write a book, I put the book out. The same book is, even if it is purchased by the first reader, maybe 10 other people will read from that same person because that person will lend it to others. So I got paid one tenth of what I should have been paid for it. This is just an example. Maya's New Husband, my book itself, was pirated so many times. If you go on these underground PDF sites, you will find the PDF copies of Maya's New Husband still floating around. And some of my very avid readers who are very dear to me, they have sent me messages of how this is happening. So I was shocked to know once that a Bangladeshi publisher had made a Bangla version of Maya's New Husband. Very bad copy, very bad Bangla. I am told I can't read Bengali, but it was told to me. And it was sold in the underground market of Bengal and Bangladesh and all those territories. And it sold very well. It sold more than I sold it on Amazon. That's what I got to know.
Okay.
But see, this is what has happened. So, as long as this happens, Kumar, how do you think artists will be monetarily happy with what's going on? So, what we subsist on is, of course, the little royalties that we get, the small royalties, the advance royalties, and of course, the screen deals whenever they happen. And those are all our rewards. That's it. And a lot of authors that I know today, even the very famous best selling authors, they survive via different means. Like some of them have full-time jobs, some of them take master classes which or workshops which also they have a subscription model for, things like that. So I think as long as our reader believes that okay, artists should be rewarded, that's not going to change.
I mean, apart from the bad news of people copying your book, the good news is that the only thing that gets copied is something that is already popular, right? So that says that
That's
your
what
books
I
are
do time and again. Even my publishers told me that be happy, imitation is the best form of flattery. So
right.
I take that as a consolation prize.
Yeah.
Man, every time I listen to a podcast, right, I'm a little more knowledgeable. Let us know what you feel about it in the comment section below. And don't forget, like, share,